r/choosing beggars. Stories of people who are being way too picky when it comes to who they beg for. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more daily uploads. The time I ruined a Choosing Beggars family's Christmas. Back in 2004, I worked at the front desk for a large mountain resort. 90% of the properties on the mountain were under our umbrella, and our front desk was open 24 hours. The other 10% were part of a different resort entirely, but since it was small, they only had employees on site from 8-6, and calls to their front desk would reroute to ours after hours, in case there was an emergency situation. I was 21 years old, making $7 whole an hour, and working a 12-hour shift on Christmas Day, because the resort was extra busy for the holidays, and anyone who refused to work on Christmas was fired. It was the first time in my life I hadn't spent Christmas with my family, and I spent the day getting barked at by entitled vacationers. So I was in a great mood already. Then at about 11 PM, I answered a call coming from the other resort. Me. Resort. This is me. How may I help you? Choosing beggar. We didn't get new towels today. Me. I'm sorry. We don't do that. It's a condo. So you're basically renting an apartment for the week. Housekeeping only comes between guests, unless you make a special request. Choosing beggar. Are you kidding? We're supposed to use the same towels for a week? Me. Yes. Who doesn't reuse towels? Did they all wipe their glasses with them? Choosing beggar. That's disgusting. We've already used them. They're dirty. Have housekeeping bring us new ones. Me. I'm sorry. Housekeeping has gone home for the day. I don't even work for your resort. Their offices are all closed for the evening, and we only take their calls in case of emergency. I can't get any towels to you. You'll have to use the ones you have for now. Choosing beggar. But we need clean towels now. This is an emergency. Me. I'm not going to wake up your resort's manager on Christmas because of your towels. There is a washer dryer in your condo if the towels are too dirty for you to reuse. Choosing beggar. How dare you? We are on vacation. We don't do laundry. Me. Well, I'm sorry that's not what you wanted to hear. Choosing beggar. You have ruined Christmas. Me. Great. Have a nice night. Happy holidays. Talk about first world problems. Now we know where the Grinch vacations for Christmas. Yeah, let's go get him at resort. Bring your shotties. I've been to resort and honestly, everyone there sucks. There was this duck answering the phones at resort, and he totally ruined a Christmas for a hard-working family. Sent $4,000 wedding rings in low priority mail. It's my fault for ruining his wedding. I worked for customer service for the mail service in my country. Choosing beggar calls in, tells me that he sent something very valuable in the mail, and he's worried the package might have gone missing. It's his wedding rings, which he sent yesterday, and he's getting married tomorrow. I ask for his tracking number, but of course he doesn't have one. He sent $2,000 wedding rings in low priority mail, which can't be tracked, nor is it insured. I tell him this, and that low priority mail takes up to 5 days to be delivered, not 1 day. He completely flips, starts shouting, and tells me how it should only take 1 day to be delivered, because he is getting married. He shouts at me, saying if I don't find his untrackable letter and change it to high priority express mail, I am personally responsible for ruining his wedding. I tell him that I can try and have it changed to priority express mail, but I can't guarantee that we are able to find such a small package during sorting. Plus he'd have to pay the express fees, about $60.70 for less than 24-hour delivery, if we're able to change it. He says he refuses to pay more money as he already bought delivery. I tell him that if he can't pay I can't help him. He says that if his soon-to-be wife finds out she will expose me personally, make sure I lose my job and that I won't get another one, because she works for a big newspaper. He proceeded to call me a bunch of nice things, so I hung up after wishing him good luck with his wedding. Later, I checked his number and he called at least 5 more times that day. Why on earth would you mail your wedding rings to yourself? Claim you can't marry her as she now legally belongs to the postal service? Sounds smart. Smart. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel for your daily dose of videos from the Reddit medic. Like the video for 1 month of good health. The story of how my great uncle pulled the reverse no on his beggar wife and children. So my great uncle was this super cool dude. Air Force. Worked on the fire service and on the rails. Took a 1929 car and redid it when he was 80. Basically every little kid's dream because of his stories and stuff. Anyways, great uncle had began to have health issues in his older years. This made him less active and therefore at home more, which made him grouchy. His wife and kids began openly discussing in front of him how they couldn't wait for him to die, how they wanted him gone, so they could sell off his stuff for money, how they knew he had a big inheritance waiting for them, and they wanted it ASAP. Well, I'm sitting there in the other room next to uncle, hearing all of this, and he turns to me and just goes, "That's what they think." Minute those cretins started wishing me dead, I rewrote my will and none of them are in it. They have money. I'm giving my wife enough to live off for 1 year, and the rest is for my funeral and to charities of my choice. Well, uncle died later that year at 98 years old. It was a shit storm, because everyone was expecting to get hundreds of thousands each, and there wasn't one of them who got $1. My great aunt got something like $5,000. Kids didn't get anything. He bought himself the most expensive casket the funeral home sold, and a mausoleum for just him. I love that man. The family didn't contest it? Yes, they did. They contested the living hell out of it, but because he intentionally didn't add any children in, there wasn't much they could go on. Plus he'd actually snuck out on one of those senior transport buses to the law office to do it, so a lawyer was involved. I've heard of people in this position who do put their kids in the will, but intentionally only leave them a pittance, like $100 each, just so they can't claim they were left out in error. That seems even more gloriously petty to me, like saying, "Yeah, I remembered you, and the sum total of our lives spent together is worth exactly 10,000 cents to me. Take it and duck off." Choosing beggar vulture picking over my dead mum's belongings. So, I unfortunately lost my mum 4 weeks ago today. Sadly, my mum didn't own her home, nor did she have much money, so while clearing out her place, which she recently decorated on a budget and furnished, I have been listing her belongings on Facebook Marketplace to raise money for her ashes to be interred. Choosing Beggar messaged me on Friday, wanting to buy her desktop printer. Fine. However, it was my mum's funeral on Friday, so I didn't read and reply obviously. He keeps on sending more messages through the day to get me to reply. He's keen and not to know I'm at my mum's funeral, so I ignored him. I finally reply on Saturday. It's £15 for a fairly new £45 Epson printer. He agrees he wants it, and we arrange for him to collect from my mum's today, as I'm here again doing more sorting and cleaning. He texts to say he's on his way and adds, £10. Okay? No dude, not okay. It's £15. He arrives and I tell him it's £15. He starts pulling a face. I'm like, as you can see, this is an old people's accommodation, not my house. I've lost my mum and raising money to bury her, so it's £15. The software is all there and opened. It's good as new. He very reluctantly pays up and asks what other things I am selling, so I show him around. He says he likes a beautiful side table and asks how much. I say £20. He replies, "But can I have it for free?" I repeat that sadly not. I'm raising money to bury my mum, remember? He then starts poking around all of my mum's belongings and asks, "So what is here that I can take for free then?" Absolutely nothing, you vulture. Buzz off. I didn't say that, as I was of course terribly British and apologized that nothing was for free. To be honest, anything that is left will go to a deserving local charity, not to a choosing beggar. He took his printer and buzzed off. Edit. I completely forgot to add that when he went to pay me, he pulled out a wad of about £300 of £20 notes, just to add insult to injury. I hope that printer always pulls the paper in just slightly crooked. This guy deserves the frustration. And that's your daily dose from the Reddit medic. Do you know any choosing beggars in your life? Make sure to share your stories below. If you enjoyed the video, share it with your friends. And I'll catch you in the next video. This is the Reddit medic. It's a goddamn pandemic. Sub for daily videos. And don't forget to spread it. I'm a exit. Peace.